She entered the palace to take revenge on the prince for killing her family. What do you think will happen next? The show starts with this huge massacre in the Dong family's mansion. Dong is outside, running like crazy trying to find her dad among all the people lying dead on the ground. She finally finds him, starts crying her eyes out, telling him she's going to save him and won't let him die. But honestly, he's in terrible shape. Her dad tells her to go straight to the governor's palace and hands her a special token. Proof that she's his daughter and the girl he promised to the governor's son before dying. Dong takes the token, and that's literally his last breath. She completely breaks down. Suddenly, a whole squad of soldiers walks out of the mansion with their leader, and they start searching for something. He tells his men to spread out and check every corner. The second Dong sees him, she immediately realizes he is the one who killed her family. She grabs her dagger and tries to go straight for him, but when she gets close, he fires his gun, not at her, but right past her, and it hits her maid, who is actually about to kill Dong. Dong doesn't understand that, so she gets even more furious. She keeps trying to attack him, but the leader grabs her, takes her prisoner, locks her in a room, and ties her to the bed. Then he changes clothes. Dong thinks he's going to assault her or something, but he gets close and tells her, "You're not even my type," and just leaves like nothing happened. Dong uses her hairpin to unlock herself and escape. When he comes back, she's gone. The next day, Dong heads to the governor's palace just like her father told her, but the guards won't let her in. A girl comes out asking what's happening, and Dong recognizes her. This girl used to work for her father, but she stole his official sealed documents and went to the governor claiming she was his daughter and the real fiancée. The girl tells Dong to leave before things get worse, pretends to hit her, and tells the guard to throw her out. Then the governor's wife shows up and asks what's going on. Dong explains everything, that SHE is the real bride, and the other girl stole her identity. But the governor's wife says the fake girl came with sealed letters from Dong's father, so obviously she believes her. Dong tries to show the token to prove the truth, but she realizes she lost it, so the governor's wife orders the guards to throw her out. They push her hard and she's about to fall, but the prince shows up at the perfect moment and saves her, telling the guards to leave her alone. When the fake girl sees the prince is defending Dong, she quickly makes up a new lie. She says Dong is just some poor village girl who used to be her servant, and begs the governor's wife to forgive her and let her stay as her maid. And yeah, the governor's wife agrees. So Dong enters the palace as a servant of the fake bride. Later, the fake girl, Nair, talks to the prince, whose name is Fong, and he asks her about the belongings her father had. She obviously has no clue, so she says the killers must have stolen everything. Then she goes to Dong's room and finds her crying. That's when we learn the truth. She's Dong's illegitimate half-sister, and she wants everything that belongs to Dong. She bullies her like crazy, makes her eat dinner on the floor, forces her to feed her like a servant, then leaves. The prince probably heard everything, by the way. After that, Prince Fong starts caring about Dong. He gives her medicine, checks up on her, asks her again about her father's belongings, and this time she gives a real answer, totally different from Nair's lie. He tells her to stay safe and that he won't let anything hurt her. Back in her room, Dong decides she's going to avenge her family, and the prince is the perfect person to help her. The next day, she goes to Fong's room to talk to him, but suddenly someone grabs her and pulls her inside. And surprise, it's the leader who kidnapped her. His name is Tian, Fong's older brother. Dong immediately starts punching him and telling him she'll kill him for what he did to her family. She's barely out the door when he points a gun at her and tells her she's going to do exactly what he says, or he'll kill her before she even tries to kill him. She's forced to stay and tend his wound, the one she herself gave him when she stabbed him the night he captured her. Then he tells her, "From now on, you're doing everything I order you to do. If not, I'll kill you." She asks how he can talk about killing so casually, and he tells her he's in his house, and he can do whatever he wants here. Dong is shocked when she finds out he's Fong's brother. She walks away without saying another word, and right after Dong steps out, she finds the Empress standing there waiting for her. Yeah, she was literally spying. The Empress orders the servants to beat Dong up for seducing the crown prince and sneaking into his room. Dong tries to explain, but the Empress already made up her mind. But then Tian shows up out of nowhere, stops everything, and tells him nobody touches her. The Empress gets mad and pushes Dong from the stairs. She falls, hits her head, and blacks out instantly. Fong runs toward her to check if she's okay, but Tian shuts him down and says she's his woman now. He picks her up and takes her to his room. Next morning, Dong wakes up and finds Nair, Fong, and Tian all staring at her. Nair freaks out and starts asking her if she's okay. Dong doesn't remember anything from the fall, just a painful headache. Tian tells Nair to get out because Dong needs rest, but Nair insists she's her maid. Tian cuts her off and says, "She's not your maid anymore. She's my future wife." Fong gets angry and tells Tian not to talk to his fiancée like that, but Tian doesn't care at all. And right then, the queen walks in. She orders the servants to take Dong off the bed, but Tian blocks them and says her injury is serious, and she's staying in his room until she recovers. The queen refuses, saying Dong is Nair's servant and must stay with her. But Tian insists he's going to make an announcement that Dong will be his wife. The queen doesn't like it, but Tian doesn't back down. Dong pretends to be happy because staying in the palace means she can continue her plan for revenge. She keeps acting like she lost her memory. The following day, Tian brings her to his office and tells her the rules of being his woman. She must obey him, tell him if anyone bothers her, and he'll take care of the rest. He takes her downstairs where the queen is sitting with a girl he was supposed to marry, but clearly doesn't want to. As soon as they arrive, the girl rushes to Tion and asks, "Who's this?" Dong asks for permission to leave, and Tion lets her go. The girl tells Tion that the queen wants a wedding next month, but he tells her that he never wanted the engagement in the first place, and she was the one who insisted. She gets mad, but Tion just walks away. Dong goes back to his room and starts searching for proof that Tion killed her family. She finds a small lockbox and remembers he had a key the day he kidnapped her. She decides she needs to get that key and see what's inside. She puts everything back in place before he returns. Meanwhile, the queen calls Tion and forces him to kneel in front of her. She scolds him for disrespecting his fiancée because their marriage is supposed to secure the family's financial alliance. Tion tells her he doesn't care about the position anymore. He won't marry someone he doesn't love. Then he leaves, and the queen gets furious. At night, Dong sneaks into Tion's room while he's asleep, searching for the key. He wakes up, sees her, and she panics. She tells him she walked into the wrong room, but he grabs her arm and asks why she's there. She pulls out a gun and points at him, but he steps closer and tells her, "Shoot." She pulls the trigger, but the gun is empty. She pushes him away and runs. Tion immediately realizes she never lost her memory and remembers everything. As she runs out, she bumps into Fong. He notices her injured hand and takes her to his office to treat it. He tells her Tion has a difficult personality and no maid can handle him, but somehow she manages. Nair sees them together and gets furious. Next day, Nair sets up a trap with one of the servants to make the queen believe Dong did something shameful. The queen calls Dong in and whips her back brutally. Tion arrives and demands to know what happened. The queen explains that Dong is ruining the palace's reputation and must be kicked out. But Tion tells her that Dong is his future wife and only decides what happens to her. He says he'll investigate the accusation himself. He takes Dong to his room, treats her wounds, and apologizes for being late. He tells her he knows she didn't do anything wrong. Later, he goes to Nair's room and threatens her with a knife, warning her to stay away from Dong. He tells her he knows everything she's been doing behind the scenes. Nair freaks out and promises not to touch Dong ever again. Back in his office, one of Tion's soldiers tells him they still haven't found the people who killed Dong's family, but Tion insists they must catch them so Dong learns the truth and realizes he was involved. He believes the killers are still hunting Dong to finish the job. Next morning, Tion starts training Dong to shoot a gun. She's scared and refuses at first, but he forces her because he wants her to be able to defend herself. He makes her shoot a prisoner, without telling her who the man is. When he dies in front of her, she breaks down and calls Tion a monster. Tion tells her he's only preparing her for the danger that's coming. She finally points a gun at him and tells him he's the one who should die. His guards pull her away and send her home. One of Tion's men tells him he should tell her the truth, that the prisoners she shot were part of a group that murdered her family. But Tion says he'll tell her everything when the time is right. Meanwhile, Fong gets one of his men to bring him the golden turtle, one of Dong's father's belongings. That's why he kept asking Dong about her father's items. But when he opens it, it's empty, even though it's supposed to contain a treasure map, and he asks his assistant to search carefully for the map. The assistant says they checked everywhere in the palace since Dong's family died, and all they found was what's in his office. Also ask Fong for info about the family, and he tells us Dong's father had another daughter from a maid. That's Nair. After giving all the details, Fong leaves, and at that moment Fong finally starts to piece everything together and understand why Nair wanted to hurt Dong. Later, Fong bumps into Dong, and she looks completely terrified. He asks her, "Hey, what's wrong?" She tells him that Tion forced her to kill someone, and since then she's been scared out of her mind. Fong tries to calm her down, and even offers to talk to his mother to arrange for Dong to be a servant to keep her away from Tion, but she refuses. She says, "I'll handle the ruler's cruelty my own way." While they're talking, Nair shows up, takes Fong, and leaves. Fong warns Nair that he knows the truth about her, and orders her to stay away from Dong, or else he'll kick her out of the palace. Meanwhile, Dong is asleep, but she wakes up in a panic in the middle of the night, haunted by the memory of the prisoners she killed in front of her. The next day, Dong goes to Tion and brings him a gift for work, saying she wants to personally hand it to him. While she places a gift, she secretly steals a key to the box without him noticing. As soon as he leaves, she opens the box and finds the symbol her father gave her before he died. She sits on the floor next to it until he comes back and confronts her. She says, "You knew who I was from the start and stayed silent. You saw me being used and humiliated here and didn't say a word." She tells him she's taking the symbol and will reveal the whole truth. Tion tries to stop her, warning her that her life is in danger, but she says, "If you don't let me go now, I'll kill myself right in front of you." Seeing her determination, he lets her leave. She goes to Nair and says, "Your game is over. I'm exposing you to everyone in the palace." Nair is shocked and says, "Wait, you didn't lose your memory? And you have no proof for your claims." Dong replies, "No proof? I found it, and now I'm coming for you." Nair tries to silence her, but Dong grabs a knife and threatens her. "Stay away or else." Then she leaves and goes to Fong, telling him she likes him and wants him to marry her. Meanwhile, Nair is packing her things, planning to escape before the truth comes out. She rushes out, and Dong and Fong see her fleeing through the window. Fong gathers a family and shows them the proof that Dong is the real bride, not Nair, who's been lying and scheming all along. The guards drag Nair in front of the queen and Tian to face the consequences of her lies. But Dong tells them, Nair is the last member left of my family, and I want her to stay my servant, just like before. The guards take her and lock her up in the servant quarters. Then Fong tells his mother, restore Dong's title, make her my fiancée, and let's hold engagement as soon as possible. But his mother says it's too late tonight, and they'll discuss details later. Meanwhile, Tian is jealous, seeing Dong with Fong. So, what do you think? Will Tian fight his brother to make Dong his? Will Dong ever realize Tian had nothing to do with her family's death? And how will she feel when she learns he's been protecting her all along? The next part comes tomorrow, so don't forget to follow the channel to catch it immediately when it drops.